This is actually Snappy, the common snapping turtle. Check out this bed that Bill made for him.
He's a cuddly guy.
He's big now.
He's 60 pounds. He's pretty rare.
I love it. What do you think?
I love it.
Ed, we have to get working. Stop playing in the lake.
Hey, what's up everybody? Ed the Pond Professor here. I am actually standing on top of a frozen lake. We are here, northern Indiana, building a pond for Snappy, the common snapping turtle, and I tell you what, he is definitely an uncommon snapping turtle because he is the friendliest thing around, and he just turned 30 years old.
And still young! Rock on!
And it's time for an upgrade. What we have to do first though, scour the edge of the lake here and chip out some of the boulders that we could reuse right inside of this place. Stay tuned, this is gonna be one incredible project.
Ed, we have to get working. Stop playing in the lake. What are you doing?
We're trying to get indigenous rocks. Snappy is indigenous to this area, so we want to have the right home for him. What better than rocks coming from the lake that he actually lives on? This is actually perfect. All right, this is the moment we've been waiting for. And we also wanted to get a little bit of information from Bill, his dear friend Bill, for 30 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we found Snappy walking by the road. He was just this big. He just had crawled out of the egg. Still had egg and sand on him. He was just a tiny thing. Picked him up, took him home, and leaned back on my recliner, and I set him on my chest, and he went right to sleep instantly. So every day I'd get home from work, and he'd see me, he'd go, get me, get me, get me, and I'd lay him on me, boom, he'd go right to sleep. Loves me, I guess. He wants to be with me all the time. Got bigger, I put him on the foot of the bed, and sometimes he'd crawl right up and get under my arm and go to sleep. So
Oh my gosh.
he's a cuddly guy.
He's big now. What's the maximum size for a common snapping turtle?
He's 60 pounds, so I guess they get up to close to 80 some of them, but not
Okay, so he's
pretty rare.
Look at that shell. I mean, just spectacular. Looks like somebody carved it.
He never gets mad. He's just amazingly friendly. Loves to be held and petted. Sometimes we go to pet expos and things. Sometimes he'll sit on my lap all day long. I don't know. It's just crazy. He's just a lovey-dovey guy.
Yeah, I tell you what, this was a normal snapping turtle that I found on the side of the road. I definitely would not be this close and just petting them like this because they could do some serious damage. So definitely be careful out there. Don't walk up to any snapping turtle that you see because they will hurt you. But this guy, he's an anomaly. You've definitely done an incredible job raising him, caring for him, and obviously it's part him too. So it's got to be genetic inside of him, right?
Mostly him, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my grandson, he came down when he was about 2 years old and he said, Papa, I want to ride on Snappy. I said, well, nobody ever rode on him, but I guess you can. So he got on him, away they went. After that, every time he'd come down, we'd get Snappy out and he'd ride him around the yard. And I don't know, he just eats it up. Wants to be with us. It's just crazy how friendly he is.
Never seen anything like that.
We're in here today to make Snappy a new and better home.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about Snappy. So he's a really cool common snapping turtle.
He is. And I'm into alligator snapping turtles.
Yes.
I'm Rusty Reed the Turtle Man, and I have been into alligator snapping turtles, obsessed with them for pretty much my whole life. And when Bill Martinson called me about a common snapping turtle that he had raised from a hatchling to a 60-pound turtle that had never bitten at anyone, and he wanted to meet me, I was honored that he wanted to meet me. And a common snapping turtle is native to our state.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in them. I just got obsessed with alligator snapping turtles. So when he came down and he introduced me to Snappy and Bill, I just loved both of them. And him and I were going up to Pandemonium, and when I stopped here, I saw what he was living in, which was a beautiful setup for him when he was little, but he had grown from a hatchling to 60 pounds.
Tell us a little bit about this enclosure that we have here.
This is a 1,750-gallon containment dike.
Wow.
And then his son welded up an angle iron reinforcement. When I saw the setup, I knew that I knew some people that could help with this project.
Awesome. Now we are just kind of walking through in our minds how the entire process is going to occur. Just like all of our products, we have a pump on one side, we have a biofilter on another, and there's going to be piping that goes in between. Take the pump and plumbing, discharge through the wall or over the top of this existing tank, go behind the tank itself, then we have to come back up and over and reconnect into the biofilter. Very, very effective. It's going to hide the piping, which is always nice. The only challenge with that, when we start adding in all this pumping connections, all these elbows, every time we put an elbow on a pump, it puts back pressure on it. Imagine driving down a highway, you're going 50 miles an hour. You want to make a right-hand turn, you got to slow down to about 20 miles an hour. 75% of your speed is going to get cut down so you can make that hard right-hand turn. Same thing that happens with water. Imagine going down that same highway, you're driving along at 50 miles an hour, but you get on an on-ramp onto a highway, your speed stays 50 miles an hour. So speed would be an analogy for the water velocity inside the pump. We can keep that water velocity consistent. It has less pressure on the pump, which is going to give us a better overall flow rate. And when we're talking about a turtle tank or any type of a system for live animals, it's all about circulation. It's all about dissolved oxygen. We want to turn it over as many times as possible to deliver the highest water quality for Snappy the turtle, because we want to have Snappy in a happy home. So who doesn't want that? Shh. Let's check out what's sleeping in here. Oh, it's stuck. This is a bed for a common snapping turtle. I wanted to say an alligator snapping turtle, but this is actually Snappy, the common snapping turtle. Check out this bed that Bill made for him. This is unbelievable. So right now, this guy is not necessarily sleeping, but he's actually in the state of brumation.
Reptiles are in brumation, and it's not a hibernation like a mammal goes into where they can be handled and they're just completely out of it. See, you can see Snappy moving right now. Brumation means that they're too cold to assimilate nourishment or food. They can live for months if they're adequately nourished when they go into that brumation cycle.
And this process where they slow their metabolism down is actually kind of the secret to their long life.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, these animals, reptiles, could live extremely long time, but they don't have the heat of a mammal, which actually over many, many years breaks down cell walls. So completely different. I mean, this is a living dinosaur. Let's go see what we can build for them. So what we're doing right now is we're putting together the main filtration of the system. Pump over on the one end, biofilter on the other. What's gonna happen here is we have a couple things. We're gonna do a watertight connection here. This is gonna be a bulkhead fitting. This is gonna adapt the tank itself to the pipe. There's like a rubber gasket that goes in between. The other one is for a drain line, or if you have multiple pumps. In this case, we're just gonna cap this one off. Fast moving water is gonna come in. Down here in the bottom, we have a swirl chamber. There's a rack that fits right inside of here. So this is our filter rack. So it's off at the bottom. That's the important piece. What's going to be happening inside of here is we're making a home for microorganisms. The microorganisms are responsible for the nitrogen cycle. Any protein, as it's broken down, is going to release a nitrogen compound into the water. That nitrogen can become toxic as it decomposes. What we want to do is have the proper biological filtration set up that's going to take the nitrogen in the form of ammonia. It's going to go to nitrite, then to nitrate. Through anaerobic bacteria that's going to live down in the sand, through algae growth and things like that, that's nitrate will be utilized in that type of a situation. That's the reason why we have this swirl chamber down on the bottom. Heavy sediments are going to settle out, so that's the important piece, because we don't want the filter media to get gummed up. This is where the nitrifying bacteria are going to live on top of this, as well as the bioball media, which is going to go on top of this. So we have two different stages. These are aerobic organisms, and during that process, they're consuming oxygen. If we were just to leave them alone in there, they would suck all the oxygen out of here. We would have a dissolved oxygen crash, which changes the pH, changes water quality. There's a whole kind of cascading effect that actually occurs, which is why we have the exit of the filter as a waterfall. Water's going to splash around, it's going to re-oxygenate the water force, just like in nature. So remember our goal, very, very simple. We are using biomimicry concepts. We are creating water the way nature intended. So we are modeling ourselves after a natural lake or a river system where we have all these natural processes occurring. But what I love doing is taking these living ecosystems, in my mind, drain all the water out of it. I want to look at a substrate. I want to see if it's sand on the bottom. I want to see if there's rocks, boulders, there's logs, all these different things. And then we're going to rebuild it the way we want it, add in the filtration system, and once we're done, we are going to have a perfect living ecosystem that's going to replicate the natural habitat for Snappy. So a couple of the challenges we have with this project, we have a rigid shell. So normally when I'm doing construction projects outdoors and things like that, I'm working with a rubber membrane, which gives me lots of flexibility. I could increase or decrease the depth. I can have easier ways to transition everything. With a hard shell, increases complexity for the pumping and filtering system. So remember, this is a big snapping turtle. He's 60 plus pounds. He could pull stuff around. Don't want him getting to the pump. So what we've done is we've used one of our AquaBlox. We don't want him getting through it, so I'm gonna lock it all in place with river rock around it. It's housing our pump. So what this is gonna do, it's gonna allow all the water to flow through all these different openings and things. So in nature, you're going to have lots of turbulence. And what I mean by that, you don't have just big columns of fast moving water. What you're gonna have is you're gonna have these little eddies. You're gonna have water flowing past rocks and surfaces, which actually increases the turbulence. That allows the sedimentation process to occur, also increases dissolved oxygen. So we're gonna have fast moving water kind of coming in between here. Water then is gonna hit the surface of the AquaBlox itself, and it's actually like a mixer. So that water is gonna come through and it's gonna be spinning and circling all the way around. That process is gonna allow sediments to accumulate down here on the bottom. Water then is gonna end up into our pumping system. It's going to get pressurized, go through the heating system, which I didn't even realize we had to do a heating system, but Bill came out and said, Snappy likes warm water. Who doesn't? I love warm water. I don't want to be out there in that frozen lake living underneath all that ice like a lot of common snapping turtles actually do. I'd rather be in the spa over here, relaxing, nice little warm water. So we set this up the right way. So we have this beautiful heating system. It's going to take all that water over to the far other end through our biological filter, recirculate the entire system. And when this is all done, this is going to be phenomenal. But what I have to do right now, focus on this to get this corner done, and we're going to work our way out of the enclosure. Again, standing in a weird, precarious situation with fake plants, trying to make something look real. This is going to be a habitat. So these little plants are actually going to be very important because it's all about the look. So we're just going for that look. Oh my goodness. I love it. What do you think?
I love it.
Nice.
I bet he'll hang around that a lot. He likes that moving water. He thinks there's food coming out. So he'll be right over there. That is amazing, guys. How do you backwash this?
We put this in yesterday, so it's coming out of one of the fittings right out of the biofilter. We're gonna open up your door here. Just take this out, downgrade over here, and all we gotta do is open this valve, and this is gonna siphon all the stuff out of the bottom of that filter bed. And that's it. With this system, 3 times a year maximum, even with your snapping turtle.
Oh, that's amazing.
We just got the waterfall operational. Everything looks phenomenal. We have great flow, which is exactly what we were looking for. But what we did, because of the turbid water condition, again, Snappy's probably fine with this, but from our perspective, we like clear water. So it's a little bit of a selfish thing. We like that nice, clean, clear water. So what Rusty's gonna do with Bill, they're gonna drain everything down. We did not put in the filter media because if we didn't want it getting all gummed up with all of the sediment that's in the water, they're gonna drain it, clean it, flush it all out one more time, then fill it up, let the temperature stabilize, turn the heater on, get everything elevated to where we need it, then Snappy will be added back into this enclosure. But we're probably looking at a 4-week period. So Bill has a set process. He's been living with Snappy for many, many years, so he knows what this animal needs. So he's gonna let him go through the formation process, then he will let him back in at about the beginning of March. So stay tuned because I know we're gonna be coming back to check this out, and I know it's gonna be an incredible feature. I've already tell he is gonna love his incredible new home.